So thinking about the old you and how far you have grown is definitely helpful when trying to help yourself with a growth mindset when things are getting tough. Another thing to do is think about this idea of leveling up. So if you play video games, I actually don't know which video game this is from. It looks like, I don't know, like superheroes or something. But in a lot of video games, if you play them, right, you start out, you don't have a whole lot of skills, you don't know how to do anything, and you slowly grind and kind of practice and do all these little repetitive things, defeating really, simple enemies or puzzles or whatever, until you get enough experience that you do something that's called leveling up, and suddenly you get more skills and more abilities, and as you do more and more of that, you get extremely good at this game. You have all these like special powers and all these things, and you're able to do more. This is kind of, I mean, really, it's no difference. This is how life works, right? Just like in video games, you have to practice and do a lot of repetitive things and practice repetitive things to get good at something, all right? Sometimes you don't notice that that's what's happening, right? Because you like what you're doing so much, and that's great, right? That's when it's really easy to get better at something because, not because it's easy, but because you enjoy doing the hard work. Like the hard work is fun to you. For a lot of other things, though, you need to sort of grind and do repetitive things so that you can level up and get to do the fun things, get more powers, get better, etc., get a better job, whatever. All right, get better at math, get better at reading. Okay, but that's hard, right? Because it takes a long time. You have to be patient. It's most of the time the practice part is not the super fun, especially at the beginning when you're just learning something and not very good at it. As you get better, you can kind of start seeing the big picture, and then it makes it a little easier for you. So it's really important to think about leveling up. What do I want to end up getting to? Do I want to be able to have these all these skills and get really powerful? And in the case of a video game, do I want to win this game? If I do, then I'm going to do a lot of little repetitive things to get better and level up so that I can do that. Just like in real life. So it doesn't matter if you're into video games, a lot of people aren't. But the same concept works in life. So if I'm really thinking about, hey, this is really hard for me, I kind of want to quit right now, what helps is also to think about in 10 years. So I actually did something with myself. When I was in college, I started telling myself that every year, I'm going to think of a skill that I would like to have in 10 years and be really good at. And I'm going to start practicing. I'm going to start learning it, even though I'll probably be terrible at it, and it'll be frustrating. I'm just going to think about how cool it would be to be able to do this thing in 10 years. So one of those things, I learned how to play guitar, and I kind of taught myself, and I was terrible at it. I was around a bunch of people who were pretty good at it. It's kind of embarrassing, but the cool thing is now, more than 10 years, unfortunately, I'm getting old, right? I can play guitar pretty well, and it's something I can do for fun, and it's kind of cool. And I actually play a lot of other music as a result of starting to do that. I also there's some languages I can speak. I learned Chinese. Even though my family spoke some Chinese, I didn't really when I was a kid, so I taught myself Chinese. And a bunch of other things. I taught myself how to code. There's these things that I thought would be really cool that I was like, okay, if in 10 years I could do this thing, that would make my life really interesting and fun in 10 years. And so I started practicing those things. So that's another way to get over it. You don't really have to think about 10 years. That's a pretty long time. You all are young. It's like for some of you, it's like almost your whole life. So maybe it's more like 2 years, next in 1 year, but really think about how do I want to level up? What would be really cool for me to be able to do in a couple years, in 10 years, and in a little while? And how can I practice that now to get good at it, right? So that when you start getting frustrated with your math, right? Like math is tough. ELA is tough. Like I don't really like reading. Writing is difficult for me. I don't want to work on it. Think about, but wouldn't it be really cool if I could write really well and I was in college and I became a writer? If I really practice hard for 10 years, again, in anything, no matter what it is, you will grow and you'll get to that point if you keep that practice up. So really think of that long term. When you're in that moment that's really hard, think about, hey, let's imagine what it'd be like if I was really good at this. Okay, that's going to take some time. How can I practice right now in the moment to start getting in that direction? If I did that every day, how amazing would that be, and how would that change my life? All right. Again, it's not always easy. It's not going to solve all of your problems, but it's another way to look at things to keep yourself motivated to think, like, why am I doing this? Okay, if I practice like this every day, where could I be in the future? Okay, so you're about to get to a chance to start thinking about this by making a digital poster. So we'll get you going now.